Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Undina and I'm a minimalist of 20 years. I'm reacting to a video of an extreme minimalist family from Japan, the Yagi family. And this is a German documentary, so I have translated it and dubbed part of it. I cannot show everything due to idiotic copyright strikes, copyright activists. That's the kind of guys you need in a humanitarian crisis. They're very important people, so we highly respect these people on this channel. Not. Anyway, let's get into the video. I think it's really interesting and I wanted to share that with you guys. So if you see this video, I succeeded, and yeah, let's celebrate in the comments, guys. Here's the video. I filmed it on my computer, in order to screw with YouTube, but I uploaded that little... What the fuck's going on with crows outside? Shut up! I like crows, but they're interfering with my plans here. So yeah, I basically made a voiceover for you guys, and I hope you're not weirded out by me talking to myself, basically. This is the bedroom of a family of 5, and they prefer it that way. Yeah, they prefer it that way. That's really what they said, like, in the German documentary. Like, look at this empty bedroom, look how empty it is, oh my god, there's nothing in it. Have you ever been to Japan? Like, it's old news that they have futons. Like, even if you're working with the news and you're like totally old school and don't know how to use the internet, like, this is old news. And they prefer it that way. What are they supposed to have in there? I don't know. The mom is a nurse. That's cool. I was also a nurse and now I'm a physicist. And the dad works as a medical technician. It's a family of medical professionals here. That's really cool, right? And look at the kids having fun on the floor, Let me just switch to the camera for a second so YouTube doesn't screw me over again. And let's not forget the dog. You guys in the comments with dogs, do you have a lot of dog toys, or is your dog also a minimalist? Like, does your dog have like one toy, or is it like with my cats in the past? I was a cat mom and my cats always had almost more stuff than me. They live in a 60 square meters apartment, 645 square feet respectively. If you're 2 people, that is kind of a big apartment. I shared an apartment of that size with my husband. It was two bedrooms basically, but one of them wasn't really a bedroom. It was more like a room that leads to the kitchen. So yeah, it was kind of annoying because we lived there when our kid was born. That was kind of a stressful time. And now we live in a three-room apartment, and we're just so much happier because every one of us has their room. Like, we have 3 bedrooms. We don't have a shared bedroom and then some useless living room that you spent like no time in anyway, because we don't have a TV, we don't do anything there. The time we spent together, we actually spent together in the kitchen, or I don't know, in my room. Yeah, it's just not necessary to have a living room. Do you guys consider that extreme? Because I totally don't. I think this roommate kind of thing makes way more sense to me, which is almost empty. And then they show like the shelf with all their belongings. That's in the bathroom. My shelf is probably, I have the same amount of belongings for, like just toiletries and stuff. Most of the time people use so many toiletries, they don't even need that stuff. Just think about the amount of lipstick that you own. Like, do you really need more than 2 colors? Like, for what? Are you gonna match them to your clothes? That kind of stuff, I never kind of understood that. I was never that person. At some point I tried to fit in, especially when I had colleagues, other nurses, and they really liked shopping and I just wanted to be one of the girly girls too. But dude, look at me. I mean, I'm just not that. And I never will be, so yeah, I'm glad I'm over that. But at that point in my life, I just tried to be interested in shopping for a hot minute, I guess. Yeah. No. There is almost no furniture, not even a bed. Yeah, you're not supposed to have furniture in your bathroom though. I don't know if I did the voiceover correctly here, but isn't that a tiny tub, guys? Look at this thing, that's so tiny. I mean, if there are any Japanese people here watching this, hi. You're cool. I like Japan. I want to go there at some point in my life and definitely want to visit it because it seems like a very interesting country and culture. Anyway, you guys, your apartments are small. Do you have tubs like this everywhere? Is that normal? Because it seems like you could bathe a toddler in there, but not an adult. Like, what do you do with your legs? Do you have them up against the wall, or do you just, I don't know, crouch in there and hope that the bath will be over soon? Because, or do you just not bathe? Yeah, I would be interested in hearing about that, because it just puzzles me when I see this and I think like, wow, this is like 1 meter and 20 maybe. It doesn't fit a whole human unless you're very small. I don't want to discriminate against small humans here, of course. And then they show the bedroom, I think. Every night I roll out our futon here and we sleep in this room, all 5 of us. And then they show how he rolls out the futon, and this kind of sleeping arrangement, I think it's pretty cool, you know, if you are up for that. I actually don't like it, you know. This is my bed right behind me there. I also sleep on the floor, but I would definitely be too lazy to roll that up every day. I thought about getting a futon, but yeah, I just like it when I come home from a long day and I just can fall right into the bed and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have anything to do with making my bed. I never make my bed. And I know there are all these dad girls out there that make their bed right away. By the way, you're growing a lot of parasites in there if you do that. You need to air your bed a lot. I don't know. This would just not be for me. But I guess it's a really, really a nice way of sleeping because it's so minimalistic. And also a real futon, like not the futon beds that you can buy at IKEA or someplace, you know. A real futon, I want to try that. Like, I don't know, I should check out like a Japanese hotel or something, because I definitely cannot afford to fly to Japan and go on a vacation there. But if there is something like, maybe they have a hotel here in Germany or someplace that has real futons, that would be so cool. I definitely want to try one, you know. Like, that is something I want to test in my life. And we also thought about getting one for my kid, because at her size, they're not super expensive. And it's very good for kids to sleep on a hard surface and not super soft surface. And to roll it up in her room, that really doesn't bother me because it's in her room, says the dad. 5 people in a bed that has to be rolled out and rolled up again every single day. That sounds exhausting. Oh yeah, so exhausting. Like, look at the man. Like, he can barely do it with his tiny Asian hands. Like, look at the man. Oh, poor minimalist. Like, these documentaries, like, sometimes I think, like, what do they want? Do they just want to make it into some shocking story, even though it's like obviously not? People get so opinionated about this, as in, oh, how can you live with so few things? Like, how does it hurt you? How does it bother you if somebody else doesn't have a lot of things and just enjoys having a lot of space instead? I love having a lot of space. I really like it when I can dance in my room. Like, can you hear the echo? I can dance in here. I can do yoga with my husband and my kid, all 3 of us in this room. And I can roller skate if I want in here. I won't do it because I respect my neighbor's need for some quiet. But you know, guys, that's amazing. That is not something like, what should I put in this space? Like a giant table that we then don't use because we actually eat on the floor. Like, if we eat in here, we eat on the floor. It doesn't bother us. I think I've eaten on the floor for the majority of my adult life. Just when I moved in with my husband, we suddenly had a table. The family isn't poor, like most Japanese people. But why do more? Like most Japanese people, not generalizing at all. Nice. More and more Japanese people adopt this lifestyle. Yeah, why do more and more Japanese people adopt this lifestyle? I think they didn't answer that in the documentary, actually. But it's an interesting question why minimalism seems to be rooted in the Japanese culture. For instance, you can also observe that with the Scandinavian design and this appreciation of simplicity. I mean, that must be rooted very deep in the culture. So if anyone is watching that who is Japanese and can elaborate on that, you know, I read about this, but I don't want to make assumptions. I rather like to talk to people who actually come from that culture and can talk about it, because that is way more interesting. So if you want to come on the podcast or point me to another video or an article, then please do so. I would be very happy to comment on that, to talk to you or something. Because that is always something I will be interested in, how other people live in other cultures, especially when they embrace minimalism and a simple lifestyle. It doesn't have to be minimalism to be simple, you know? I started learning about minimalism when I became a dad. I thought I would have to move into a bigger space. That is such an important point, you know? When he became a dad, that was this point in life when he, you know, and I think a lot of Americans can relate probably, because I always see that in your TV shows. I don't know if that is just a cliche, but as soon as you become parents, it seems like at least your representation in TV shows is that you need a bigger car, you need to move. I can relate to that because I felt the need to move when we had our child. I just wanted the walls between us to be thicker, and I wanted the space, and I needed a place for myself to kind of chill. And also I didn't want toys in my room. I have an unfinished dollhouse project right behind me. I know, okay? But basically I have no toys here. And I know so many parents that think it's the ultimate freedom and so important for their kids that the toys are all over their place. And I don't really think that that's important for the development of your child, that they can toss their toys all over your place, especially if it's your bedroom or your personal space. No. And that really helped me, you know. I had to work in here. This was my home office during the whole plague. And yeah, I just needed that space so much. And my husband needed that space as well. He was so happy when he finally had his own room, like his little man cave, you know, where he can put his clutter everywhere. So that is his freedom. This is my freedom. And I think this is important, you know, for families. So I admire this family for actually being able to live in a small space where basically nobody has their own room, it seems. I'm not sure. It looks like they only have a living room and the bedroom and the kitchen. And the kitchen is merged with the living room. So I think that is much more admirable, that they are so relaxed and chill as people, obviously, that they can make that work, you know, because that takes a grown-up person, that takes a chill person to be able to be so close to someone else for, you know, basically 24/7, or at least the time that you spend off work. I thought I would have to move into a bigger space, but I also wanted to have time for my kids, be able to offer them experiences outside the house. I thought that was something my money would be better spent on instead of buying them things. That's also such a valid point, you know, when you think about it, as in, what do you want to spend your money on? Things or quality time? And he decided, I don't need a lot of things for my kids. My kids don't need a lot of things. And I believe that so many parents know that. But they still drown in things because they can't say no. Becoming a parent makes you a little bit soft, you know, and it's harder to say no to people. It's harder to say, I don't want this in my life. Please take it back to the shop. And I have done that multiple times, and it was hard. It is hard to tell somebody, no, we don't need that. I know you spent money on that. I know you wanted to give this to us as a present and to my kid to make her happy, but we really don't want it. It takes up a lot of space. That kind of thing, you just have to do it. You just have to get it over with, because trust me, at the end, people just bring stuff into your life that you don't need, and you would not accept that in any other area of your life. You would be like, well, I don't need this kitchen gear. Why did you bring it? I don't need this table. Why did you bring me a second table, although I already have a table? Why did you bring 4 chairs with that table that I didn't want and didn't ask you to bring? Is it a pretty table? Yeah. Do I want it though? No. Please take it back. I'm sorry. Like, you wouldn't accept that in any other part of your life, but when it comes to kids, we're like, oh yeah, that's okay, well, we can't say anything because it's from grandma, and then we have to hide it and make a big fuss about it and wear it like once so that she sees it and is happy, and then we have to secretly get rid of it. That's ridiculous. We're adults, guys. Don't do that. In the living room, they have a wall closet. It contains the belongings of the mother, and I used to have a wall closet too. I like a walk-in closet with a lot of space. I used to love that thing because it made me not need furniture, not need a closet. It was my first furniture-free apartment. And I got so much out of that thing. Like everything I had was in there. Now everything I own is in this closet here. But back then I had a closet twice or 3 times that size, just a real walk-in closet. And that was just so nice. My closet used to be filled up from left to right. I had 3 closets like this. And I think that probably a lot of people at this point would be like, what? That's not a lot, from left to right. And then she says, but 3 of them. I still think that was a lot. And imagine the emotional work that she had to do and the work of grief, because decluttering is kind of grief, it's letting go, and it's hard to let go parts of your life that are represented by your belongings that remind you of that time. It's trivial, but it's also kind of deep, if that makes sense. Like it's trivial in a way that it's just things, and as soon as you realize that, it's kind of easy. It's not a difficult thought that you need to write a big sciencey paper about. But emotionally, that doesn't make it any easier, just because you understand it cognitively that this stuff has to go because it doesn't make you happy and it doesn't pay rent and you just don't want it anymore, doesn't make it easier to actually go through the process and let go of it. So yeah, I admire that she did that, especially since, as we will hear in the next clip, it was not her idea. I loved clothes. Shopping was my hobby. That was before I became a minimalist. It was my husband's idea, and it was hard for me at first to live with so few things. She has reduced the number of clothes she owns to 15 pieces. But isn't that boring? Isn't that boring? I have to think of Leafy's video here when Leafy said...
And I know it might seem like I'm missing out on a chance for self-expression, but no worries. I have plenty of other ways to creatively express myself.
And that's the thing, But anyway, again, it was not even her idea. It was her husband's idea. And I think that is so hard to do. By the way, you guys, do you want me to make a video about how to live with a non-minimalist and, what conflicts there are and stuff like that? If you do, let me know. Anyway, she has 15 things overall, which is very, very few. I don't know what the climate in her part of the country is, but I would certainly not be able to do with so few things. Just for hiking alone, I need a lot of things that are like clothes that I would not wear in my everyday life. I mean, you could do that, but it would just expose them to wear and tear, and it would look weird. Like, I think it's pretty odd to wear your outdoor clothes wherever you go. It's made for the outdoors, it's made for hiking, and maybe for 60-year-old Karens, but it's not my thing. Yes, sometimes, she says. And for me, sometimes it's boring. I have a lot of basics like this, and I think that's fine. But sometimes I really have the urge to get something cool and weird and quirky. And what I do then is basically put something like this on a sweater or something. Because you guys, you can do a lot of stuff with tiny objects and look fancy and indie, and it's not hard. I prefer accessories over clothes, because you can accumulate a lot of accessories and your home is still minimalist and they don't take up a lot of space. Which goes to the question again of what is better, fewer things or fewer space taken up. And I would always go with fewer space taken up, because this kind of stuff doesn't take up mind space of mine. It's there, but it's not in the way. I prefer that solution actually, and I don't count my things. She allows herself a few things and not being so minimalistic sometimes, being more intentional when shopping and donating something from her closet each time she gets a new item. Yeah, I try to do that too. It's actually not easy, but it's absolutely doable if you have like a donation box. I recommend that to anyone. Just introduce a box to your life in which everything goes that has to go, and once a month you try to declutter that. It really helps. Just don't make it like an ADHD graveyard box or something like that with all your clutter in it. Just try to set a date, like every first Sunday of the month, and you just go over these things and try to sell them. And if you haven't been able to sell them after 3 months, then just donate them. I mean, that money is gone either way. The dad owns even less. Apart from what he is wearing right now, he has 2 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, and 3 jackets. That's like really cool. I think that on average men own less than women, you know. They can do the fewer pants and they are not so into fashion. And I believe that stereotype to be true. I don't believe that stereotype to be something negative, because just look at the planet. The camera team almost feels bad bringing more stuff for filming than this family owns altogether. You need a lot of stuff for filming though, I can tell you that. Like, I have more stuff on my table right now than they have on their table just for filming this video. Then he opens the family closet, containing everything else they own apart from another wall closet. That is so nice. Like, you need no furniture if you have these. Like, if you're a minimalist and you want to avoid closets, you know, just find an apartment with a walk-in closet, like, and then don't fill it. Their personal belongings. Actually, it is still a bit too much, he says. Yes, it's kind of cluttered, you know. But look at it, you know, look at it. It's not super empty. They got some towels here, like some towels, and I don't know, a bunch of knickknacks. Their personal belongings. Books or CDs, I don't know. Actually, it is still a bit too much. And some stuff I cannot identify. Much, he says. He has a fast-drying towel here. Oh yeah, I have a fast-drying towel too. Actually, I have two because I need to change them whenever I go to the gym, and I don't want to do laundry all the time. So I have two fast-drying towels, and by the way, you can get them made out of cotton and really thin. Actually, I have one of these from Japan, and they are so good. They dry just as fast as the microfiber towels do. I actually had them on a bunch of hikes. I highly recommend getting a Japanese thin, fast-drying cotton towel. I will link one in the description if I find a link, because that is just a more sustainable solution, not shedding any microplastic into our water. You know, we are 5 people. We have to do laundry almost every day, he says. That's kind of insane. I mean, laundry every day, you know, that is like the first point in this video where I would say it's not practical and it's not more minimalist. To me, it is more minimalist to have the same shirts 5 times and just don't have to wash all the time, you know, because you always have another one that you can wear, rather than only have one shirt. Also, I don't really like the turnover that creates, as in you have to go shopping more often, and I really don't like shopping because due to the wear that this shirt is exposed to by washing it every day or every other day, you just end up needing to buy more shirts. So overall, you might have the same amount of clothes over a long period of time as you would have had if you had 5 of the same in the first place. And that just doesn't make any sense logically. That is why I try to keep it simple and get by with as little belongings as possible. As I said, I don't think that makes much sense. I think it makes more sense to have a few items, like duplicates of your favorite shirt, and then not wash so often. I think that is also better for the environment, because a washing machine needs to be full in order to run as efficiently as possible. He has a rule. Everything he didn't use for a year is either donated, sold, or discarded. Yeah, that is a good trick. You can also do that in your closet, you know. There's this famous trick, as in turning the hangers around, and then after a year you look which one didn't you take out even like in 1 year. I did that with my clothes in the past. I don't do that anymore because I don't have any clothes that I don't wear. But if you're just starting out with this whole decluttering thing, then this is a good trick. And you can also just do that seasonally, as in just for summer. And when summer is over, you look at your summer clothes, like which ones didn't you wear all summer. And then you put them in a box. And if you want to sell them, you sell them in spring of the coming year. That is like how I do it. I always have these boxes for spring and winter for my kid as well, and I always get rid of that before the season starts, so I can sell it at a good price, you know. I actually would donate most of it, like if it's not in a higher segment of pricing, if it's not something you really spend a lot of money on and that is still worth something just for a bunch of bucks, no, I wouldn't do that. It's just not worth your time. I feel more free the less things I own, he says. For example, when I take out this box filled with things, it immediately feels more simple and calm. Yeah. Just look at him. Look at him taking out that box. How satisfying that is. He doesn't like this. And it's gone. Like, yeah. That is how it must feel to be a dentist. Box very much. Too many things. I agree. And now they are going outside for a stroll and just with the little one, and then they want to have some lunch, I think. Is the baby carrier bought or borrowed? Asked the dad. He would prefer it if it was borrowed, obviously. Yeah, it's bought, but I mean it's a baby carrier. You can easily resell them. And by the way, I'm guilty of this. I still have a bunch of baby carriers because I'm not 40 yet. Yeah, that's the reality of not being done making decisions in your adult life. But I can deal with that. I think there's way worse than having a bunch of baby carriers, you know. I think I'm gonna sell 2 of them though. But I want to sell them to a person who really likes them. They're precious. But I kind of don't have a lot of time right now to take care of that stuff. So make sure you don't get so much stuff for your kids in the first place, because then you don't have to get rid of so much. In my case, with the baby carriers, it was just like my back was so bad, it was hurting me all the time, and I just had to try a bunch of different carriers. And then after a while, I found the one, and then I wanted to sell the other ones, but I never got around to doing it. So don't be like me, just get the perfect one right away. At this point, he doesn't really like buying things anymore, in general. That is also something I can relate to. I don't enjoy shopping a lot. I really don't. I feel so weird to go into a store and see all this stuff. You just know that it's cheap, that it's not fair made, and that it's just made to be worn for one season. And then the next best thing comes around, another trend comes around, and I just came to despise trends. I just don't like following any kind of fashion trend anymore. It doesn't give me any joy to be dressed in a fashionable, up-to-date way. I like the classics. So yeah, you guys, if you like the classics too, please post a little red wine or some other alcoholic beverage emoji in the comments section. I would love to see who watched the video to this point. Wow, you're amazing. Thank you for keeping my watch time up. If you want more videos like this, let me know by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that on Patreon or become a YouTube member. I have butt emojis. And also a capsule wardrobe emoji and a mustard yellow tea emoji, which I'm not wearing right now, but it's my favorite color. That's it.